Marsh is a space of light, where grass... Penguin Random House Audio presents Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. Read for you by Cassandra Campbell. Part 1. The Muck.
This is Audible.
Penguin Random House Audio presents Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. Read for you by Cassandra Campbell. Part 1. The Marsh. Prologue. 1969. Marsh is not swamp. Marsh is a space of light, where grass grows in the water and water flows into the sky. Slow-moving creeks wander, carrying the orb of the sun with them to the sea, and long-legged birds lift with unexpected grace, as though not built to fly, against the roar of 1,000 snow geese. Then within the marsh, here and there, true swamp crawls into low-lying bogs, hidden in clammy forests. Swamp water is still and dark, having swallowed the light in its muddy throat. Even night crawlers are diurnal in this lair. There are sounds, of course, but compared to the marsh, the swamp is quiet because decomposition is cellular work. Life decays and reeks and returns to the rotted duff, a poignant wallow of death begetting life. On the morning of October 30th, 1969, the body of Chase Andrews lay in the swamp, which would have absorbed it silently, routinely, hiding it for good. A swamp knows all about death, and doesn't necessarily define it as tragedy, certainly not a sin. But this morning, 2 boys from the village rode their bikes out to the old fire tower, and from the 3rd switchback, spotted his denim jacket. Chapter 1. Ma. 1952. The morning burned so August hot. The marsh's moist breath hung the oaks and pines with fog. The palmetto patches stood unusually quiet except for the low, slow flap of the heron's wings lifting from the lagoon. And then, Kaya, only 6 at the time, heard the screen door slap. Standing on the stool, she stopped scrubbing grits from the pod and lowered it into the basin of worn-out suds. No sounds now but her own breathing. Who had left the shack? Not Ma. She never let the door slam. But when Kaya ran to the porch, she saw her mother in a long brown skirt, kick pleats nipping at her ankles, as she walked down the sandy lane in high heels. The stubby-nosed shoes were fake alligator skin, her only going-out pair. Kaya wanted to holler out, but knew not to rouse Pa, so opened the door and stood on the brick-and-board steps. From there she saw the blue train case Ma carried. Usually, with the confidence of a pup, Kaya knew her mother would return with meat wrapped in greasy brown paper or with a chicken, head dangling down. But she never wore the gator heels, never took a case. Ma always looked back where the foot lane met the road, one arm held high, white palm waving as she turned onto the track, which wove through bog forests, cattail lagoons, and maybe, if the tide obliged, eventually into town. But today she walked on, unsteady in the ruts. Her tall figure emerged now and then through the holes of the forest until only swatches of white scarf flashed between the leaves. Kaya sprinted to the spot she knew would bear the road. Surely Ma would wave from there. But she arrived only in time to glimpse the blue case.
Alert from system-wide server.
For the woods.
Low battery.
Disappeared. A heaviness, thick as black cotton mud.
Alert from Tom.Apple.battery-monitor. Low battery.
Kaya was the youngest of 5. The others much older, though later she couldn't recall their ages. They lived with Ma and Pa, squeezed together like penned rabbits, in the rough-cut shack, its screened porch staring big-eyed from under the oaks. Jody, the brother closest to Kaya, but still 7 years older, stepped from the house and stood behind her. He had her same dark eyes and black hair, had taught her bird songs, star names, how to steer the boat through sawgrass. "Ma'll be back," he said. "I don't know. She's wearing her gator shoes. Ma don't leave her kids. It ain't in 'em. You told me that fox left her babies." "Yeah, but that vixen got her leg all tore up. She'd have starved to death if she'd have tried to feed herself and her kits. She was better off to leave 'em, heal herself up, then welt more when she could raise 'em good. Ma ain't starving. She'll be back." Jody wasn't nearly as sure as he sounded, but said it for Kaya. Her throat tight, she whispered, "But Ma's carrying that blue case like she's going somewhere as big." The shack sat back from the palmettos, which sprawled across sand flats to a necklace of green lagoons, and in the distance, all the marsh beyond. Miles of blade grass so tough it grew in salt water, interrupted only by trees by renegades. A man doesn't set up a palmetto Chapter 1. Chapter 2. Jody. 1952. After Ma left, over the next few weeks, Kaya's oldest brother and 2 sisters drifted away too, as if by example. They had endured Pa's red-faced rages, which started as shouts, then escalated into fist slugs or backhanded punches, until one by one, they disappeared. They were nearly grown anyway. And later, just as she forgot their ages, she couldn't remember their real names, only that they were called Missy, Murph, and Mandy. On her porch mattress, Kaya found a small pile of socks left by her sisters. On the morning when Jody was the only sibling left, Kaya awakened to the clatter, clank, and hot grease of breakfast. She dashed into the kitchen thinking Ma was home frying corn fritters or hoe cakes. But it was Jody, standing at the wood stove, stirring grits. She smiled to hide the letdown, and he patted the top of her head, gently shushing her to be quiet. If they didn't wake Pa, they could eat alone. Jody didn't know how to make biscuits, and there wasn't any bacon, so he cooked grits and scrambled eggs and lard, and they sat down together, silently exchanging glances and smiles. They washed their dishes fast, then ran out the door. Later, near sunset, Jody found Kaya on the beach staring at the sea. As he stepped up beside her, she didn't look at him but kept her eyes on the roiling waves. Still, she knew by the way he spoke that Pa had slugged his face. "I have to go, Kaya. Can't live here no longer."
Oh my God.
She almost turned to him, but didn't. Wanted to beg him not to leave her alone with Pa, but the words jammed up. When you're old enough, you'll understand, he said.